What are you doing in my swamp? Only fairy tale creatures are allowed in my swamp. Okay, you look pretty strange. You're a fairy tale creature. You can come in my swamp. Hello, all of my fairy tale things, and welcome to my Shrek obsession. I am obsessed with the Shrek franchise, and I have put together a kind of massive Shrek collection. Not the largest in the world, mind you. There are actually bigger Shrek collections out there. I probably have, if I had to guess, the third or fourth biggest Shrek collection out there. But we've covered it in my mini videos across the channel, looking into the history of Shrek's mini toys throughout the years. And one thing that you guys have been requesting is more collection updates because, yeah, it is quite the collection, isn't it? Quite the problem, I should say. So today I want to go a little bit into the collection, how I've been organizing this ogre madness, how my swampy ogre den is doing, and also some new pickups and things I have been adding to the collection. There's been a lot of new stuff coming out lately, especially ahead of Shrek 5, so we'll look at some of the new recent releases and take a little spin around. But real quick, a little bit of my backstory for new people out there who want to know how much of a Shrek all-star I am. Well, I grew up with Shrek as a kid, and actually was not around for the original Shrek. I was around, but I was 1, so I don't remember anything about the original Shrek. But Shrek 2 was the first movie I can really remember getting excited for. It was my first summer blockbuster, and it was the first movie that I collected the toys of, and not just played with the toys like baby toys, but actually collected and displayed my collection. I wanted them all, and that really paved the way for a life of toy collecting and cartoon and animation obsession. So to me, Shrek represents the best childhood years, those innocent days when all you really had to do was play toys and get excited for summer blockbusters. I especially love the Shrek stuff from the early 2000s, the real nostalgic stuff. 2004 to like 7, Shrek the Third was kind of my sweet spot years. But to me, Shrek just represents a piece of childhood passion for me. It makes you feel good, especially as an adult. And I also just love the franchise. I think they're some of the best movies ever made. Love the style, the look of the Shrek franchise, and they're just very fun and interesting characters to collect. That's my deal. So today, let's just check out a little bit of the Shrek collection. And is there a method to my ogre madness? Kind of. Not really. Maybe. Let's find out. So let's just get right into it and descend into what I call the wall of Shrek. Now, the biggest new addition is the car windshield up here. So this you put in your car to protect it from the sun, and it looks like Shrek, Donkey, Fiona, Puss, the whole gang is driving the onion carriage. That was a box lunch pickup. I actually picked that up just a couple of days ago. I did not think it would be so big. When did car windows get so big, people? It's huge, but you know what? It fills that empty spot above the wall, so it's a very fun addition. I also have this new canvas here I picked up at Ross, and Ross Discount Stores has been an amazing place for Shrek items. They've gotten a lot of exclusive stuff, which is a little unusual because usually Ross is just secondhand sales of other items, but nope. They've been getting exclusive Shrek stuff, and that really awesome canvas was only $12. And what I love about this recent stuff is they're using those classic old renders. They didn't redraw the Shrek characters. They didn't interpret them as like 2D designs, which you do see with a lot of other licenses. They'll just simplify the characters. No, these are the full 3D renders of the Shrek characters, and that's what I love about Shrek is that ultra detail. So plush, I've got a lot of Shrek plush, and plush are difficult to display, man. They really are. They kind of fall all over the place, but I have lots of favorite Shrek plush. The Build-A-Bear Shrek right there, one of my favorites. Also, all of the Namco Shrek. Namco is the company that made, like, this Shrek and Fiona here and that big Fiona. They have a very distinct look. If you want to learn more about it, watch my guide to Namco Shrek plush. They're very cool and collectible. I have a full set of the McFarlane beanies. That's also a tough set to put together. Felt great when I did that. And then moving on to the top shelf here, this is kind of the catch-all for all of my miniature Shrek figures, and I've displayed them in a castle. It's not a Shrek castle playset. That's actually from Narnia, Prince Caspian, but it does make for a pretty good Dragon's Keep / Duloc, you gotta admit. And I have some of the McFarlane playsets in front here. Shrek's house, and then the bathing playset. And then I have an empty spot here, which is where Shrek's outhouse would go if I had it. I have the mini outhouse, the new one they did, but not the outhouse playset. And I'm so bummed because at the time of this video, there was an auction for the outhouse playset I was winning. And I was so ambitious that I would win that auction. I cleared that spot, and then I got outbid at the last moment. Such is life. This is one of my favorite shelves. These are some of my more high-end items. Here is the statue you get for working a full year at DreamWorks Animation. I have not worked a full year at DreamWorks Animation. You didn't see anything. And this is actually the production, cast, and crew statue for Shrek Forever After. They only made like 500 of these, and you had to be a special person at DreamWorks to get this statue. It wasn't given to everyone. Only special people got this statue. And then I've got a prototype right there of Prince Charming. That's a test shot of the action figure. A full set of the Shrek Mexican candies from Mexico. This set right here is a soft spot for me because I had it as a kid. I lived across the street from a Mexican grocery store that had imports from Mexico, and I actually had these exact toppers. You can see them on my Shrek birthday cake. Also, speaking of imports, these are the Kinder Shrek egg figures. I believe these come from Germany, and they're really, really cool. That's the thing about Shrek collecting, is you learn so much about different collectibles all over the world, especially with Shrek. Shrek is a global icon, and often, many of the best Shrek collectibles are not from the USA. They're from other places abroad. Some other things I have hanging on the wall, like a Duloc sign. This is pretty cool here. This is a little trade ad sent to people in the film industry to get Counting Crows nominated at the Academy for Accidentally in Love. So a little bit of an industry piece. Also, you get to see Fiona in a swimsuit. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? I won't lie, Princess Fiona, my childhood crush as a kid. My first childhood crush, that is. Especially Ogress Fiona. Shrek holds a special place in my heart. I love all of these characters so much. Especially Shrek here. He looks great whether he's on a mug or a cup or a bucket. This is actually a very cool rare piece. That is the large size Tupperware tub for Shrek Forever After. You'd be shocked how tough that is to get. Some of the Shrek Tupperware items are like ridiculously hard to get. Now here is the Hasbro set of carded figures. And this was kind of what started it all with my resurgence into Shrek collecting. There was a guy at a flea market years ago that had this full set. It's not a complete set of the carded figures, but it is a lot of them. It's the full first wave, plus Handsome Shrek there. And he wanted like $60 for all of them, and I really hesitated. And my parents were there. They're like, Austin, this is your youth. And I just looked at it, and I had so much nostalgia rushing back to me, seeing that ogre-shaped packaging. Like I explained it was just an otherworldly feeling picking those up for the first time in years. And I'm so happy I bought them to this day, because not only did it reawaken my interest in Shrek ahead of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, mind you, which I think got a lot more people interested in Shrek again, but also those figures have become pretty tough to get. They're not easy. I have some of the littles there, some of the plush with a box lunch coupon I need to spend with Shrek. By the way, box lunch is like where I go to get my Shrek stuff, at least the recent Shrek stuff. They get a lot of good Shrek items. And if you're wondering about secondhand Shrek items, like, am I rich? No, I don't have any money, guys. I'm just a young adult working a part-time job. How can I afford a hobby like this? Persistence. It's just a lot of hunting at flea markets and thrift stores. Almost everything I have in this collection either came from a flea market, a thrift store, and like 10% of it from eBay lots. I don't pay full price retail for anything. I'm notoriously cheap. So I try to get all this stuff as cheap as I can. This is a fun shelf here, some of my Shrek food items. The shampoo bottles, I love all of the shaped Shrek shampoo they've done over the years. One in the front is actually the UK exclusive bottle, and that's what I was talking about, how the UK Shrek bottle actually looks a lot nicer than the American bottle. So it's really fun to collect the regional items and see the differences between US, UK versus, Mexico, Germany. It's quite amazing. Here are some of my Shrek glasses. If you'd believe it or not, I still haven't completed a full set of the infamous McDonald's glasses that I'm sure you know about are poisoned. I have some of the miniatures there from Shrek Forever After, just some miscellaneous items. Here are all of my Shrek Burger King toys, alongside some of the other more obscure fast food promotions. I've been doing some videos recently where I talk about each of the fast food lines because I think they're really fun and interesting. And again, a lot of nostalgia for these toys because I remember going to fast food places and getting these Happy Meals, you know, in the heyday of fast food when those restaurants were a lot more fun and cool looking. Now fast food restaurants are miserable. Okay, this is the Pop Vinyls, alongside some of the other collectibles like the lunch case, the puzzle, the Pez. And you know, I'm not a big Funko guy, but I love the Shrek set. I think it's one of the best sets Funko's done. And I swear my Shrek bias isn't showing. I just really like these Pops. I think the design on them is good. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to show on the bottom there, that is my childhood photo of me at Walmart, taken in 2004 with my beloved Puss in Boots plush. Yep. I begged my mother to get that photo taken. I can't imagine it was cheap, but she did it because she loved me, and I still kept it, and I treasure that photo to this day. You know, for a long time, my family actually teased me over that photo, and as a teenager, I was embarrassed of it, but now I have come to love it, and I'm so grateful that I kept it. All right, time for some action figures. This is my main Shrek action figure shelf where I keep all of my favorite Shrek figures over the years. This is a mix of McFarlane Shrek figures, as well as Hasbro Shrek figures, and some other more rare and obscure releases. If you have any specific questions about these figures, do let me know in the comments. I don't mean to brag, but I can be quite knowledgeable about the many Shrek toys released over the years, and a lot of people are wondering like how to get certain characters, like for example, if you want Kitty Soft Paws from the Puss in Boots movie, you know, she didn't get a figure in the regular toy line, but she did get a cup at AMC movie theaters that had a piece on top that can be taken off the cup and is, as you can see, perfectly displayable with the figure. She does look like she was intended to go with these figures. So sometimes you really just have to get a little creative and a little crafty to get all of the Shrek cast together on a shelf. So if you are wondering what any of these toys are, please let me know in the comments. I would love to talk to you about these. Trust me, it's my passion. I could talk Shrek toys all day. And some of these early Shrek toys are just so nice, especially the McFarlane toy stuff. Even the more recent McFarlane Shrek stuff they've done is quite nice. I am a big fan of that. Okay, alright, so one shelf below that, and this is the Grand McDonald's shelf. McDonald's made Shrek toys for a number of different promotions and years, and I think they all look kind of similar, so I put them all together. Except for the Ogre babies. Those are the electronic baby toys. I just put them up there because, like, you know, there was a baby theme going, so why not put all the Ogre babies together? And McDonald's made, like, a surprising number of Shrek characters, you know. People always ask, like, where do I begin with Shrek collecting? This is, like, my go-to answer every time. Just start with the McDonald's toys because you can, like, build out a surprisingly large number of Shrek characters just from these McDonald's toys. And none of them are worth, like, any money. You can find these guys in big lots for, like, 20 bucks and get all of them. They're just completely worthless toys, which is a shame because I actually think these are some of the best sculpts we got for some of the Shrek characters. They're really good, so that's a fun starting point. And then bottom shelf is as bottom shelf as you can get. This is just where I have all of the extras. You know, one day I'm going to get to a bigger place, and I'll be able to spread out these figures more, and we can give, like, NASCAR Shrek its own dedicated shelf, because, yes, they did make Shrek NASCAR figures. You know, at one point in my life, I was a huge NASCAR kid, and my NASCAR obsession and my Shrek obsession happened, like, within months of each other. And when they did the Shrek NASCAR tie-in, I freaked out as a kid. It was amazing. Because they did make little Shrek NASCARs. I only have the truck right now, but I would love to assemble a full set of the Shrek NASCAR toys, because that's like a nostalgia overload for me. That's like both things I loved as a kid together. Here are some of my Shrek books and board games. Lots of interesting stuff there. Here's another just catch-all miscellaneous shelf. There's just so much, and I have so little space that I do my best to kind of put it all together and organize it nicely. This is the doll shelf here, and also some of the other more collectible items. That's the MGA Fiona doll. There is the Barbie Loves Shrek doll, which I never understood, but, you know, she kind of looks like a Shrek fan now. Now there's people that look like that, but when that doll came out, I don't know, was anybody dressing like that? I kind of dress like that now. I got problems. But yeah, it's a Barbie Shrek fan. They didn't make a Princess Fiona Barbie. I always thought that was odd. They made a Shrek fan. But MGA made a Fiona fashion doll, and she's fine. She's okay. But the most accurate Fiona fashion doll actually came from Blockbuster Home Video, of all places, who released this fantastic Fiona fashion doll that is quite difficult to get. That's one of the toughest items in my collection. I have it displayed alongside some equally rare figures of Shrek and Donkey, and I think they all look really good together. So we're going to back out here. We're going to get one more look at the massive Shrek wall. I mean, it's just a giant wall of green. It's kind of crazy. I've actually made like a concentrated effort to try and get some more Donkey, Dragon, and Puss figures in my collection just because it's so unbelievably green. It's crazy. So that's the bulk of it, but I do have some extras we're going to look at here. I have the Shrek skateboard leaning up against the side there. It's another, like, most 2000s thing ever. That may be the most 2000s piece in my entire collection. I mean, Shrek was even in Tony Hawk. You don't get much more 2000s than a Shrek skateboard, even with Y2K graphic design. And then moving over to this wall, I've got the Puss in Boots soundtrack. We've got some little extras, the Shrek soundtrack that was recently re-released, and the Shrek corkboard with some nice pins on it. And then moving over to my closet, I have some extra space I cleared out just the other day because the Shrek collection, again, is expanding so much. I need more room, so this is going to be more overflow. And this is my physical media collection. I have another row even behind that one of all of the mini variants of Shrek. Shrek's been released so many times on DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS. And then I've got all of the DreamWorks movies, like a full set of them. And then also all of the extras. Mostly movies I grew up with in the 2000s. I tend to be nostalgic towards things like, you know, Robots and Ice Age and, you know, Alpha and Omega, Surf's Up, you know, crud like that. Stuff that was like, we have DreamWorks at home, but definitely stuff that came from my era. I definitely have a bias towards the CGI look of the 2000s. All right, moving on to my bed, which has also been claimed by Shrek. We have the massive giant donkey buddy plush, one of my favorite recent items given my good friend Marcus of Comfort Cartoons. He found that for me. Thank you, Marcus. I love it. I use it in a bunch of videos. You've probably seen it if you've watched videos on this channel. There's a Shrek. We'll get to this. Actually, no, wait. I just realized we already showed that Shrek because it's the same as this one right here. So that's the Beverly Company Shrek doll. It's honestly one of the nicest Shrek dolls ever made. I have two. That one is new with the tag, so that's like the display one. And then over here, that is just the second-hand one that, you know, it's missing some stuff, so I just threw them on the bed. You know, this is one of those plush I just can't ever leave if it's like $1 at the thrift store. I have to have it. There's the U2's Shrek, and here is my Shrek blanket, which you may be familiar with because we film a lot of videos on this bed. It makes for a really nice backdrop because the colors are so neutral. I try my best to shoot videos with backdrops that make it so you can see the figures clearly. And sometimes with the wall of Shrek, everything kind of blends together. So sometimes I will feature this is the background. Other times you'll see the bed. Some of my other DreamWorks collections that are not Shrek related, I've got the Furious 5 and even a full set of Ants figures. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. I love Ants. I think Ants is great. It's like a solid 7 out of 10, people. More people need to watch it. And this is the overflow shelf, the big overflow shelf that you don't really see in a lot of the videos because the lighting is not good this way, so I choose not to make it the backdrop. But it's kind of where everything else goes. A lot of plush there. Some more signs. Okay, so the Shorewood Forest isn't Shrek, but it looked so good with these two signs from Box Lunch, I just had to hang it up. Plus, Robin Hood, you know, he shows up in Shrek at one point, so it's kind of Shrek related. And then finally we close on my desk, which is also surprisingly not Shrek yet. We may need the space if, you know, more Shrek stuff comes out. But it is a lot of DreamWorks. You'll see my Road to El Dorado set, Ginormica. We even got a figure of Dr. Blowhole. Like, I didn't even know that existed, but I found it the other day at the flea market. And pretty much, actually, now that I think of it, yes. Okay, so everything in this shot, with the exception of that Minecraft Steve Jack Black figure, everything else in this shot is a flea market find in the past couple years. How about that? Everything. Okay, not the Night in the Woods figures. Those I had to special order, but, you know, if you know Night in the Woods, you know it's the greatest thing ever made, so I had to have those. But everything else is a flea market find, and perhaps one of my most treasured and proud finds lately that you guys have not seen yet is the full set of Hasbro Shark Tale toys. This is a set of figures I have wanted for literally decades. I have wanted these in my life. They're very, very rare. I did find them, and I will be making a full video on those figures soon. And if you're watching this video from the future, that video may already be up, but I was very excited to find those. So, you know, my life isn't entirely Shrek. I like some other Shrek-adjacent things like Shark Tale. But yeah, for the most part, Shrek has consumed my entire life. I have Shrek everywhere. Look, I even have Shrek on my ceiling fan. Little Shrek and Fiona pull tabs to make the fan work. It's nuts, but I love these characters. The Shrek characters make me happy, and, you know, we're only on this planet once, and I am a firm believer that you should do the things in life that make you happy. I don't really care what other people say about me, you know? Sometimes I do get some pretty nasty comments, and I don't care. Sometimes I don't even delete them. I just leave them up, because, like, I ain't got time for that, man. I collect Shrek. I love Shrek. I'm passionate about it, and I share that passion with you guys. This community we've made is, well, you know, I don't mean to be biased, but it's the greatest community ever. You guys are the absolute best. I did not think anyone out there online would want to see this collection, but the response has been overwhelming. So, you know, leave a comment, join the community tab, and together we will be all-stars. Thanks for watching, and have a happily ever after.
This channel wouldn't be possible without the support of viewers like you. A huge special thanks to the Luke Rosati, Telephone Wire, Antonio Bocina, Pizza Topping, Don Tizzle, Jamie, Boar Usta, Shotgun Justice, Pladley, SMO3, Tucker Time, Little CJ, and Griffin Newman. If you'd like to support the channel with a 99-cent donation, consider purchasing a YouTube membership. But a huge special thanks to you, because you watched all the way to the end of the video. That makes you a true all-star, my friend.